Howdy. Well, from a chapter of the Shaken Not Stirred department, this is a Walther PPK. The Walther PPK was the favorite gun of James Bond. This particular one is really, really rough. I don't know where it came. I know it's from World War II. I know, I know quite a bit about it. I asked Tom from Legacy Collectibles about it, and he told me it was about a 1934-ish production. But anyway, the Walther is a blowback double action revolver pistol. Shoots the .32 ACP cartridge, known as 7.65 Browning in Europe. It's was used as a police pistol in Europe. PPK stands for Polizeipistole Kriminal, meaning the pistol for the criminal police. This was the favored pistol of undercover agents during the or detectives during the Weimar administration and later by the Gestapo. They also used the Mauser HSC and others, but this was their favorite one. This is a really, really robust pistol, and many others have copied this design, have mimicked it. But there's one thing that the Walther got right that the others just don't have, and this is it. For a field strip, first remove the magazine and make sure it isn't loaded. Then take this, which is the trigger guard, pull it out and move it to the side like that. Then grab the slide, move back, and that's it. To reassemble, make sure that the trigger guard is out. Grab very low on the grip, and this one's old and sort of rickety, so this does not stay where it should. But there, and it goes back together. It has this it's double action, but it has this interesting safety. With the safety on, you can't cock, and if you are cocked, you know, like run the slide, the hammer follows the slide down. When cocked with an empty magazine, it will hold the slide open. It also has a firing pin little gizmo out here that comes out when there's a round in the chamber, so you can feel right here to see whether or not you're loaded. Well, what I wanted to show was that, like I said, they were copied by a lot of people. Here's the Czech version. It's called a VZ70. It's more of a copy of the PP than the PPK. I don't have a PP. That's the oversized version of this. This one's in much better shape, but I'm not going to field strip it because it's a Royal Bear. It takes, let's see, where is it? This button here takes the place of the trigger guard coming out. But it uses a similar system. Let's see, turn the safety off, cock it. It doesn't, oh yeah, it does. I think it does. It doesn't have a hold open on the magazine, but it looks a lot like a PPK. Interesting pistol though, and these came on the market a while back, surplus, dirt cheap. This one has a importer mark on it. This one does not, so I know this was a GI bringback, but I don't have any papers on it. I don't think there ever were papers on this. I think basically this was like gaffer tape to the guy's thigh when he walked off the ship. You know, I never understood that. Thousands of guys walked off the ship in New York in 1946. Half of them armed to the teeth, walked out on the pier in New York City, usually went off to the bus station or the train station and got on transports to Kansas, to Iowa, to Minnesota, all over America. But all of them were armed. because I mean they had their wartime bringbacks with them. Their duffel bags had duffel cut 98Ks in them. Or they had Lugers, or they had P38s, or they had stuff like this, you know. And we didn't have mass killings then. We had thousands and thousands of untracked, unknown armed fellows wandering around America, and nothing happened. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, politics aside, this is a more modern take on that. This is the very first compact 9mm. This is a Detonics Pocket 9. It's stainless steel. It was made in Seattle, Washington, of all places. It was made only in the year 1984 and is probably one of the rarest 9mm compacts ever made. Also, it's brutal to shoot. This thing, the way it does its, these are all blowback. They are not lock breech, nor is this. And the way these ones do it is the 32 ACP is a very low-powered cartridge. The 9mm is not. The way it does it is it has double recoil springs. And because of that, it's a bear to cock and to fire. The 9mm is stronger than those recoil springs, and when you fire it, your wrist knows it. As you see, it does have the hold open on a magazine feature, but it also, I found out, if you do this, you can, if you know what you're doing. Let me see if I can. I haven't done this in years. Let's see if I can do it without hurting myself. No, I'm not going to try it. What you do is you reach in and lift up a little tab here, and it's the tab that this lifts up when you do that. Now, as to take down on this thing, what you do is you do what I just did and leave it cocked like this or open. You see these little nubs right here? The manual says to grab these nubs and pull back on it like you would on a PPK. That doesn't work. What you do is you take a soft jaw vise, it's got to be soft jaw so that it doesn't hurt it, and have it and grasp it on these nubs with this in it. Then with it tight, pull back on the slide, lift and pull it off. Then you have access to the two recoil springs nested inside each other and the rest of the interior. It's made out of stainless steel, but it's almost exactly like a Walther PPK inside. And it has this groove-shaped sight on it. It has the hammer it's not completely recessed. You can cock it, but it's very, it won't snag on anything. I have this and 4 or 5 magazines for it, and it's this is one of the rarest guns I've got. I picked it up dirt cheap at a small hick gun store in Albuquerque. Oh, by the way, you've seen this before if you watch TV. There was a cop show in the 80s, I think it was the 80s, called Miami Vice, and there was a guy in there called Sonny Crockett. He carried a Bren 10 on his hip. The Bren 10 was a copy of the CZ75, only done in the new 10mm cartridge. And at the time it came out, I think the only 2 pistols in 10mm were the Bren 10 and the Delta Elite from Colt. I have fired a Delta Elite. I've never fired a Bren 10. One of the problems is a lot of Bren 10s came back for factory work because they had some problems. And then when they shipped them back out, sometimes they forgot to put the magazine in them. Or they would ship out new ones without magazine and say, oh, we're going to send the magazine in a month or so. They never did. A Bren 10 magazine at one point was worth as much as a Bren 10. Well, anyway, Sonny Crockett carried one of those, but he had this as an ankle holster pistol. This was his backup. His, though, had a little hook right here. It came out to a point. That was a feature that they did late in 1984. This is much earlier, and they did it rounded here with a little bit of knurling. This one, you need that because you need 2 hands to hold this thing when you fire it. I have, and it's brutal. Anyway, that's a look at, as I said, shaken, not stirred. Happy trails.